वनसारभक्षितम् उमासुतं शोकविनाशकारणं नमामि विघ्नेश्वरपादपङ्कजम् गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं वत्सचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् नमः पार्वती पतये जानकी कांत स्मरणं जय जय राम राम सर्वत्र गोविंद नाम संकीर्तनम गोविंदा गोविंदा. So when we say Pundarikam, we start say Janaki Kanta Smaranam. You can as well say Rama, but we say Janaki Kanta Smaranam or Parvati Pataye. The importance is given to the spouse. That is the beauty of Sanatana Dharma, that so much of importance is given to the consort. And the glory of the God comes from the wife, Parvati Pataye. Likewise, Janaki Kanta. There was a Dikshitar called Appaya Dikshitar, very famous person. You might have heard of him.
Yes.
Once he was going to a neighboring village and he was being honored by a person who knew him. And there was a small crowd and two women were talking. And the other lady said, so he said, Asmin Grame Achalu Prasiddhaha. He was not known, but Achalu was known. Sometimes I am known as Vidya's Athakara. So it is a reflection of the wife being great, and then that's how even the gods are. Exception to the rule is Govinda. Is Sarvatra Govinda Nama Sankirtanam. You don't say Rukmani Pataye Namaha or Satyabhama Pataye Namaha, but this Sarvatra Govinda Nama Sankirtanam. Govinda is so exclusive, so unique. So that is the beauty of Govinda, also known as Narayana and known by different names. Narayana Gari, Narayana Gari, Narayana Gari, Narayana. 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 Hari Narayana. Narayana, 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 Narayana. Narayana, 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 Narayana. Narayana Gari, Narayana. Glory of Narayana. What is meant by Narayana? People know what is the meaning of Narayana? We all say Narayana, right? Mahapariva, Kanchi Mahapariva explains what is Narayana. It's got two words, Nara and Ayana. Nara referring to human beings. Manushan. Ayanam is a path. You say Dakshinayanam, Uttarayanam and all that. It's a path. It also means goal. So Narayana is the ultimate goal. He is also showing us the path. Upanayanam you say, Ayanam. You will take near a guru who shows you the path. So Narayana is the one who sets the path, who also gives you the ultimate goal of moksha. So that is the greatness about Narayana, the meaning, and the word Narayaneeyam comes from Narayana. It has two meanings. One is about Narayana. It also means written by Narayana. So the composer was a great devotee called Narayana Bhattatri, who was living in the 16th century, 400 years back, at a place called Mepattur. He was afflicted with rheumatism, which he took over from his guru. And he wanted a cure for it, so he came to Guruvayur. And then he composed the Narayanam, which has more than 1,000 verses, the sum of which we will be reciting today in Dasakam. The greatness of Narayana is shown by Adi Shankara himself up to the present Kanchi Acharyas. When you do Namaskaram, they always bless you with Narayana, Narayana. Even though they are followers of Shankara, but they say Narayana. So it is said in the Bhashyas of Adi Shankara, he says there is a great power called Narayana which is really conducting and controlling the entire universe. The Brahma Shastra Vidya itself is Narayana. Narayana means Brahma Shastra Vidya. Adi Shankara's Bhashya says that. So in Vishnu Sahasranam also we say about Krishna. But you don't say Krishna Uvacha. Say Bhagavan Uvacha. Bhagavad Gita, we don't say it was written, it was spoken by Krishna, but you don't call it Krishna Gita. You say Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna himself is Bhagavan. That is how the Narayanan things come about. The central theme of Narayana is bhakti, devotion, and it is a mini version of Bhagavatam itself. It is a condensation of about 18,000 verses of Bhagavatam into over 1,000 verses. It has also got right from Matsya Avataram, going to different places, and it became really famous because of Narayana Bhattatri. And it is really a composition of Indian philosophy. It has got everything in it. Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga. And the Parayanam of Narayanam is considered to be very divine, giving you so many benefits. But while on this, I'd like to give you a very quick background about Guruvayur. Many of you know that Guru and Vayu, people, these two set up a place. But the history is much longer than that. It's not even present Yuga, but it has crossed even previous Yugas. There was a deity called Adi Keshava Perumal in Madurai, which was worshipped by Vasudeva and Devaki. Devaki wanted an idol, not as large as Mahavishnu, but something which is a miniature version. So she got a miniature version called Kaishora Rupam, young Krishna, 10 to 15 years old. That was worshipped by Vasudeva and Devaki, which was handed over to Krishna. Krishna also was worshipping it at the end of, close to the end of Dwapara Yuga, when he was in Dwaraka. He knew that the Yuga is going to end and he is also going to end. So he called Uddhava, his very close friend, and gave that idol to him. I would like you to give it to Guru and Vayu for the perpetuation of this deity in the next Yuga, Kali Yuga. And there was a pralayam and there was such a, like a tsunami, the whole thing was carried before Guru and Vayu could really take hold of it. But then they looked around, they found it was floating near the coast of Kerala. They retrieved it. They wanted to install it at a suitable place and they met Parasurama. They went to Parasurama and said, we want to install this deity of Lord Krishna. And Parasurama said, I know the right place. It's called Rudra Tirtham, where Shiva is there. He has been worshipping Lord Vishnu Narayana there, and he will be able to give us the right place. But when the Shiva was mighty happy, he said, take over this Rudra Tirtham, you be here, I'll go to a smaller place. Mammiyur went to a small place. And that is where the present deity of Guruvayurappan is installed by Guru and Vayu. So, since the place was Guruvayur, The father of the place, Guruvayurappan, was the name given. Now it is such a powerful deity that many people worshipped and they found they were able to get the benefit out of it. Guru of Narayaneeyam Bhattacharya himself. From him he took over and then he prayed. He prayed for, at the age of 27, he had this composition for 100 days. 100 dasakam. On the 100th dasakam he had the vision of the Lord. And the uniqueness of this is, it is all in first person. It talks as if in talking to your friend, first person. And secondly, it is something where he has his doubts. Oh, did it really happen like this? He'll ask questions. And Guru Ayappan said, he will nod the head, yes. If it is so, yes. He'll nod the head. And that is how the whole Narayaneeyam is composed. Such a beautiful episode. So I think we'll start with the Dhyana Slokam and we'll go on to the Dasakam number 1.
Dhyana Agajanana Padmakam Gajananamahadnisham Anekadantam Bhaktanam Ekadantam Upasmahe Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Gurave Sarvalokanam Vijale Bhavarodinam Nidaye Sarva Vidyanam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Asmat Guru Charanarvindabhyam Namaha Vasudeva Sudam Devam Kamsa Chanuramadhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadgurum Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmalaspadikakritim Adharam Sarva Vidyanam Hayagrivam Upasmahe Shri Hayagriva Murtaye Namaha Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Shri Mahasaraswati Namaha Uma Komara Hastabja Sambhavitalatakam Hiranya Kundalam Vande Kumaram Pushkarasrajam Vetrive Murnakyohara Lokaviryam Mahapujyam Sarvarakshakaram Vibhum Parvati Hridayanandam Shastaram Pranamamyaham Swamiye Sharanayappa Vagartaviva Sampriktau Vagarta Pratipattaye Jagadapitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau Shri Parvati Parameshwarabhyam Namaha Komalam Pujayan Venum Shyamaloyam Kumarakah Veda Vedyam Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Asmat Guru Charanarvindabhyam Namaha Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare He Nata Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare He Nata Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare He Nata Narayana Vasudeva Pitambaram Karavirajita Chakra Sankha Kaumodaki Sarsijam Karuna Samudram Radha Sahayam Atisundaramandahasam Vatalayesham Anisham Hridivavayami Krishno Rakshatu Mam Charachara Guruhu Krishnam Namasye Sada Krishne Neva Surakshito Hamasa Sakratip Krishnaya Dattam Manaha Krishna Deva Samukbhavo Mama Viho Krishnasya Vasosmyaham Krishne Bhaktida Chanchalastu Bhagavan He Krishna Tubhyam Namaha Namranam Sannidhatte Sadadamapi Purastairanavyatidhanapi Arthan Kamanajasran Vidaradi Paramananda Sandram Gadincha Ittam Nisheshalabhyo Niravadika Falaha आरिजातो हरे त्वं शुद्रं तं चक्रवाटी ध्रुवमपि लशति व्यक्तमतिव्रजोऽयं श्री गुरुवायुरप्पा शरणं श्री भट्टपादं मनिशं हृदि भावयामि वंशी विभूषितकराद् नवनीलधाभाद् पीताम्बराद् अरुणबिम्बफलादरोष्टाद् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखाद् अरविन्दनेत्राद् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने कैरण्डुं कुपीन्यान् विनूमीरक्कुन्नु नीरजलोचना निन्नोडायि येतीनो मन्यने कुम्भीडेन्दातोरो प्रीतियिल नीयन्ने पालिक्केन्नाय कृष्णा हरे जय कृष्णा हरे जय कृष्णा हरे जय कृष्णा हरे जय
Dashakam number 1. The glory of Guruvayurappan in this. Go ahead.
Sankranandavabodhatmakamupamidam kaladeshavadivyam nirmuktam nityamuktam nigamasasasena nirbhasyamanam aspashtam drishtamatre punarurupurushatmatmakam brahmatattvam tartavadbhadi sakshat gurubhavanapure antavadyam jananam evam durlabhya vastuni sulabhaya hastalabdhe yadanyate tanbhāvācāmiyāvā bhajati padajana shuddhadaiva ye tāvadvayam tu sthiramanasa vishvaviryāvahatyai निश्चेषात्मानमेनं गुरुपवनपुराधीशमेवाश्रयामः सत्त्वं यत्तत्पराभ्याम् अपरिकर्मतो निर्मलं तेन तावत् भूतैर्भूतैन्द्रियैस्ते वपुरति बहुशः श्रूयते व्यासवाक्यम् तत्स्वच्छद्वारच्चादितपरिसुखचिद्गर्भनिर्भासरूपम् तस्मिन् धन्यारमन्ते श्रीमतिमधुरे सुग्रहे विग्रहे ते निष्कम्पे नित्यपूर्णे निरवधि परमानन्दपीयूषरूपे निर्लीनानेकमुक्ता वैशुभगतमे निर्मल ब्रह्मसिन्धौ कल्लोलोलासतुल्यं कलुविमलकरं सत्त्वमाहुस्तदात्मा कस्मान्नो निष्कलस्त्वं सकल इति वचः त्वत्कदास्वेवमूहन् निर्व्यापारोऽपि निष्कारणमजभजसे यत्क्रियामीक्षणाख्यां तेनैव बोधेति लीना प्रकृतिरसति कल्पाभिकल्पाधिकारे तस्यावंशं कमपि नमतिरोधायकं सत्त्वरूपं सत्त्वं दृष्ट्वा ददासि स्वमहिमविभवाकुण्ठवैकुण्ठरूपं तत्ते प्रत्यग्रधाराधरललितकलावलीकेलिकारं लावण्यस्यैकसारं सुकृतिजनदृशां पूर्णपुण्यावतारम् लक्ष्मीनिशङ्करलीला निलयनामृतस्यन्तसन्दोहमन्तः सिञ्चत् सञ्चिन्तकानां पुनर्वलये मारुतावतानमाता कष्टादे सृष्टिचेष्टा बहुधरभवकेताः जीवराजा इत्येवं पूर्वमालोचितमजितमया नैव मध्याभिजाने नो चेज्जीवाकान्तरामा मधुरहृदिनं त्वत्वपुश्चित्रसाद्रं नेत्रैः श्रोत्रैः च पीत्वा परमरससुधां बोधिपूरेतमेरन् नम्राणां सन्निधत्ते सततमपि पुरस्तैर्नभ्यर्पितानपि अर्थान् कामानजस्रं वितरति परमानन्दसान्द्रां गतिं च इत्थं निःशेषलभ्यो निरवधिकफलपारिजातो हरे त्वं शुद्धं तं शक्रवाणी ध्रुवमपि दशति व्यक्तमर्पिप्रचोदयम् कारुण्यात् कामन्यं ददति खलु परे स्वात्मतस्त्वं विशेषात् ऐश्वर्याधीशते जगति परजने स्वात्मनोऽपीश्वरत्वं त्वय्युच्चे रामरमन्ति प्रतिपदमधुरे चेतनास्वीतभाग्याः त्वं चात्मा रामे वेदि अतुलनरनाधारशौर्ये नमस्ते ऐश्वर्यं चन्द्रराधीश्वरविनिगमनं विश्वतेजोहराणां तेजस्संभारिवीर्यं विमलमतियशो निःस्पृहैशोपगीतम् अंगासंगासदाश्रीयतिलविदसिलचिन्नत्वामिदे सङ्गवारुदा तद्वागारादवासिन् भगवच्छब्दमुख्याशयोऽसि
सर्वत्र गोविन्दनाम संकीर्तनं गोविन्दा गोविन्दा लोक गुरु भगवान् नमस्ते कोटानिकरमणे शरणं स्वामिये शरणमय्यप्पा
श्री हरये नमः श्री हरये नमः श्री हरये नमः. The very first slokam of Dashakam 1 describes the glory of Guruvayurappan, who is described as the Brahman or supreme power, which is the embodiment of never-ending Anandam, Sandrananda, the very first word. Sandrananda is never-ending. Anandam, bliss. Anupamitam, no comparison. Upamanam kadiyadu. Anupamitam, no comparison, incomparable. Kaladesya adityam, beyond any measurement of time. It is not time bound. It cannot be explained even in 1,000 Vedas. Only through a Guru Upadesham one can experience what is called Brahman. And those who are lucky, he calls it Hanta Jananam Bhagyam. We say Aho Bhagyam, Aho Bhagyam. It's something fortunate. It is the fortune of people who worship in Guruvayur. We are all blessed to be here to listen to this. It is something which is not reachable by everybody, not experienced by everybody. This, rhymes very well with many of the other scriptures. You know Rudram, you know Purusha Suktam, Narayana Suktam and all that. In Narayana Suktam, you have this, Yacha Kinchit Sarvam, Jagat Sarvam, Drishyate, Shruyate Piva, Antar Bahishcha, Sarvam, Vyapya Narayana Sitaha. You have that two line, right? Whatever the universe is, you have, is seen or heard or pervading everywhere. From inside, Antar Bahishcha, from inside as well as outside, alike stands supreme the eternal divine being called Narayana. That is the meaning of this particular. So you see this being reflected in quite a number of other scriptures and also compositions. If you see, there was a great saint by name Sadasiva Brahmendra, you might have heard. 17th century, came later. In fact, lived about 100 years later than Narayaneeyam, who had composed many songs, but one on Brahman which comes to my mind, which is befitting this particular slogan. What is Brahman? Manasa sancharare Brahmani Manasa sancharare Brahmani Manasa sancharare Brahmani Manasa sancharare Brahmani Manasa sancharare Madashiki pincha alankrita chikure Madashiki pincha alankrita chikure Maganiya kapola vichita mukure Adaniya kapola vichita mukure manasa sancharare Shri Ramani kucha dukha vikare Shri Ramani kucha dukha vikare Sevaka jana mandira mandare Shri Ramani kucha dukha vikare Sevaka jana mandira mandare Paramahamsa mukha chandrasakore Paramahamsa mukha chandrasakore Paripurita muraliravadare Paripurita muraliravadare manasa sancharare Brahmani manasa sancharare. It's a beautiful composition of Sadashiva Brahmendra set to the Raga Shama. Brahmani manasa sancharare. He says, let's travel into Brahman. It's a pilgrimage to Brahman. There he describes, when I saw this peacock, it came to my mind, the peacock feathers. Alankrita chikure. Alankrita chikure is chikure means peacock feathers. Madasiki pincha, the hair is hair lock of Brahma is adorned with the peacock feathers. May your pilgrimage to Brahma that fills the universe with the Murali Ravadari. Murali is the flute. The flute which plays that fills the entire universe as the Brahma. One of the beautiful compositions. So there are many other compositions, but this rhymes well with this Dasagam 1, which is pointing out that Krishna and Guruvayurappan, nobody else other than Brahma itself. And this is the point that he makes here. If you see other avatarams also, you have got Prahlada avataram. Prahlada worshipped and Hiranyakashipu, you asked, where is your Narayana? Show me. And he says he's everywhere. The palace which was built by Hiranyakashipu, he himself probably supervised it. He knows there is nothing in the pillar because it is made of concrete or whatever. He has not put anybody there. He knows. Is he in this pillar? He said, yeah, very much. And then he strikes with the sword and out comes Narasimha Swami. So every one of those Bhagavata avatarams you find is reflecting the Brahman. There is another very great, there are three scriptures on Krishna. One is Jayadeva's Ashtapadi, where Sri Vidya sang so beautifully, we had the program at home. Second is Narayaneeyam. And the third one is called Krishna Leela Karnamritam. Krishna Karnamritam. Krishna Karnamritam, which is written by a great saint by name Leela Sukar, also called Bilba Mangala Swamigal. Bilba Mangala Swamigal. He is also written. And you find all these are exactly the same on Krishna. You will find they are alike. So you find the glory of God, the glory of Guruvayurappan is reflected as Brahman, the unseen Nirguna. And he says how difficult in the verse 2, difficult it is to get this darshan. Durlabhyam. Evam Durlabhyam, says. And how it is easy for people, yet we ignore it. It's a pity that we ignore it, and the ignorance is what is causing them not to see it. and the sufferings come out of that. So in your mind, Brahmani, Manas Sanchare Brahmani is you search for that Brahma. And as you go on, it describes the Lord as pure Sattva. You know the three qualities, Rajas, Tamas and Sattva. He is pure Sattva. There is no pollution caused by other Rajas and Tamas. Complete one. And Bhattatri says here, people forget Lord Krishna, he is waiting like a Kalpaka Vriksha. Kalpaka Vriksha to grant salvation. But people due to ignorance completely neglect that. So in all these you find that he is described as Bhagavan, as Brahma himself. And this is going to be also, the same theme is continuing in the other chapters with the description of various avatars. We will soon start with the Dhruva avataram. But before that, we'll have a short Namavali. Guruvayurappan Sri Hari Krishna Narayana Gopal. Guruvayurappan Sri Hari Krishna Narayana Gopal. Mukunda Madhava Muralidhari Narayana Gopal. Mukunda Madhava Muralidhari Narayana Gopal. Narayana Gopal, Sri Hari Narayana Gopal. Narayana Gopal, Sri Hari Narayana Gopal. Mukunda Madhava Muralidhari Narayana Gopal. Mukunda Madhava Muralidhari Narayana Gopal. Govardhana Giridhari Murari Narayana Gopal. Govardhana Giridhari Murari Narayana Gopal. Pitambara Giridhari Murari Narayana Gopal. Pitambara Giridhari Murari Narayana Gopal. Sarvatra Govinda Nama Sankirtanam. Let's start with Dashakam Sarvati. Guruvayurappan.
Uttanapadanrupate manunandanasya jaya babhuva suchadlitara manishta anyasu niti madhuranadritasa tvameva nityamagati sharanam tajahur ante vitussuruchi puttradamuttamam tam drishtva dhruvaktila suniti suto virokshan ashishime gilashishusutavam surachya Dussantyaja kalumavadvimukairasuya Vanmohite pitari pashyati dharavashye Duram durukti nihadassagato nijambam Saviswakarma gati santaranaya punsam Tvatpadameva sharanam shishave shasansa Akarnyaso vibhavadarshana nishridatma Mani niretya nagadakita panchavarsha Sandrishta narada nivedita mantra marga Vamarada tapasa madhukananante Tate vishanna hridayena garingatena Shri naradena bahisanvida chitta vrittau Bhalaspadapitamanatramavardhitena Ninye kadora tapasa kila panchamasan Tavat tapobala niruchvasite digande Devakirasamudayattarnadrasheta Tvadrupa chitra sanilina mate purastad Avirbhavumidativo garudavirudah Tvadarshana pramadabharata rangitam tam Drivyani magnamiva ruparasayanete Tushtushamanamavagamya kapola deshe Samskrushtavanasidarena tatadharena Tavat vivoja vimalam panuvantamenam Avashadastvam avagamya tadiya bhavam राज्यं चिरं समनुभूय भजस्व भूयः सर्वोत्तरं ध्रुवपदं विनिवृत्तिहीनम् इत्यूचिषित्वैकते नृपनन्दनोऽसौ आनन्दिता किल जनो नगरीमुपेतः प्रेमे चिरं भवदनुग्रहपूर्णकामः ताते गते च वनमातृतराज्यभारः यक्षेण देव निहते पुनरुत्तमेऽस्मिन् यक्षैः स युद्धनिरतो विरतो मनोक्त्या शान्त्या प्रसन्नहृदया धनधादुपेतात् त्वद्भक्तिमेव सुदृढामवृमोन्महात्मा अन्ते भवत्पुरुषनीतविमानयातो मात्रा समं ध्रुवपदे मुदितो यमास्ते एवं स्वभृत्य जनपालनलोललीस्त्वं वातालयाधिपनिरुन्धि महामयोगान्
सर्वत्र गोविन्दनाम संकीर्तनं गोविन्दा गोविन्दा अखिल लोक गुरु भगवान नमस्ते चोटानिकरमणे शरणं स्वामिये शरणमయ్యప్ప
श्री हरये नमः श्री हरये नमः श्री हरये नमः So many of you know Dhruva Charitram. Swayambhu's Vanu's son Uttanapada was a king. But unfortunately he had two wives. Sunuti and Suruchi. And you know, even one wife is difficult to manage. I don't know how you manage two wives. So Dhruva was son of Suniti and Suruchi, second wife, and he ignored his wife by Sunuti, and naturally the child was also ignored. So Suniti was overcome by grief and she was living separately, surrendered to the Lord and free. So one day what happened, he was 5-year-old like Vivek. He wanted to go and sit on his lap of his father, and the father was willing, but Suruchi, she refused to let him. He said, why not? So you have to be born to me, only then you can go and sit on your father's lap. The child, so sensitive. So he went and asked his mother what to do. Mother said, you have to pray, there is no other way. There is a nice proverb. Pakshinam akasham balam. For birds, only the sky. If you put them in a cage, they can't fly. Akasham balam. Matsyanam udakam balam. You know, for fish, they need water, otherwise they'll die. Durlabhyaha balam raja. Raja is a king, but in this case, it is Bhagavan. Because he was unfortunate, he had to go and seek the blessings. And he was there in the forest for 5 months. Pancha Manasaha, he says. 5 months he was praying, a 5-year-old kid. Then eventually, Bhagavan appeared. But the cause, what was the cause that really made Dhruva to go to forest? It's said beautifully here in verse 2, last line. Durustantya kalu bhavat vibhukaihi asuyaha. You know what is meant by asuyaha? Asuya is jealousy. There was a great Pativrata named Anasuya. In Sanskrit you put aya, it becomes the opposite. Anasuya means one who has no jealousy at all. She was not only great Pativrata, but she was without any jealousy. Anasuya, Atri Maharishi's wife. And the 3 Devis, you know, 3 consorts of Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, they were jealous of her. Because Narada went and told, there is one Pativrata called Anasuya, nobody can match her. That put a seed of jealousy in them. They told the husbands, you go and see whether really a Pativrata. So these three guys went there and they asked for a boon which nobody will give. They said, we would like to be fed nude. She said, okay. She made them converted into babies. Eventually they realized the greatness, they united them together, the three babies, which became Dattatreya. Three faces, Dattatreya. So Anasuya comes from the word Asuya, opposite. So here Asuya is the cause. Suruchi had the jealousy of Shakalati. Sahakalatraha comes from Shakalati. So she didn't want Dhruva to come. That is the cause for Dhruva to go to the forest. You know, Tamil Sulva Porama. Porama. My mother used to say, Uru Ama Pundale Vitla Ahad. Uru Ama, you know, you cannot get a tortoise into the home, it is a bad omen. Amayu Amina Varakudad. Amina means the court fellow who takes away your property. If you get into a case, you lose a case and your property is confiscated, Amina comes. Amayu Amina Varakudad. So Ama is Oru Ama Irundale Agade, Porama Udurtunaka Epudi Agam Amnipa. No, Porama Kuda. This is the reason why a lot of things are going wrong. We have jealousy and that completely. So in this case, Dhruva went there and then he had to do this penance and eventually Lord granted him the boon of attaining the highest. There is a beautiful verse here, number 7, if you read it, it says, Bhagavan touched the cheeks of Dhruva. Tushtu Shabanam Avakamya Kapola Dese. Kapola Dese is this. Kapola Dese. Samprishta Vanasi. Dharena Tata Adarena. Dharena. Dharena Tata Adarena. Dharena means Changu. Adaram. Adaram. Adarena with love. Tata Adarena with love. He touched the cheeks of Dhruva. After these 5 months of penance, he appeared before him and touched him in the cheeks. And Narayana Bhattatri is asking Guruvayurappan, is it true that he really touched him? There is a question, you know. Question. Is it really true that he touched? And Guruvayurappan, there is Samprishta Vanasi. Samprishta Vanasi is, did you really touch him? You touched him? And Guruvayurappan nodded the head, yes, I did touch him. So that is the beauty of Narayaneeyam, that he is asking questions and the Lord is answering him with a nod. And in verse 11, Dhruva Padam is the ultimate Dhruva Padam. It's a place of Dhruva, it's a noun actually. Matra Samam, with mother. The mother proceeds him to go to Vaikuntham. Matra Samam. Dhruva Pade Muditoya Maste. Those who know Sanskrit will know Aste is present tense. Muditoya Maste. Means that he is there in the place of Dhruva Padam. He continues. Not that he was, but he continues. Today you call it a pole star. I think in English you call pole star. You can see Dhruva star. So Dhruva was given that highest position. But before that he ruled the kingdom. He went back to the kingdom, he got the kingdom. And later, you know, his brother was killed by Yaksha. And he was so enraged. Dhruva wanted to fight against the Yakshas. But there was an intervention. Swayambhu Manu, who said that please don't fight, you go amicably. And he built up a rapport. And the Yaksha king was Kubera himself. Yaksha king, it all comes in that. Yaksha king Kubera, he was so pleased with his action, they wanted to give a boon. He said, you ask anything, what do you want? You want this kingdom, much larger one, I'll give it to you. He said, no, I don't want any of those. I want only devotion to that Narayana. That is what he says. And such was the greatness of his devotion. And at the proper time, Dhruva with his mother, attained the Dhruva Padam. And this is the story of Dhruva Charitram. It's one of the little avatarams in which he comes and gives the ultimate moksham, permanent, eternal place for him as Dhruva Padam. So there ends the Dhruva Charitram. A little Namavali.
Kasturi tilakam Narayanam, Kasturi tilakam Narayanam, Kamalanayanam Narayanam, Kamalanayanam Narayanam, Kasturi tilakam Narayanam, Guruvayurappan Narayanam, Guruvayurappan Narayanam, Kaliyuga Avatara Narayanam, Kaliyuga Avatara Narayanam, Govinda Govinda Narayanam, Govinda Govinda Narayanam, Govinda Govinda Narayanam, Govinda Govinda Narayanam, Kasturi tilakam Narayanam.
Sarvatra Govinda Nama Sankirtanam. That's 26 Gajendra Moksha.
Indradyumna Pandyagandadirajah Tvadbhaktatma Chandanadrau Kadachine Tvatsevayam Agnadinaluloke Naivagastyam Praptamaditykamam Kumbhodbodhi Samruddha Krodabharaha Stadhatma Tvam Hasti Bhuyam Bhajeti Shaktvatainam Pratyagatso Vinebe Hasti Tattvam Tatsmridim Vyaktiramyam Duddham Bodhe Madhyavaji Trigode Kridan Shaile Yuktavoyam Vashabhihi Sarvan Jantu Natyavattrishta Shaktya Tvadbhaktanam Putramuttasya Labah Svenastena Livyade Shatva Shaktya Soyam Kedana Prajanan Kadachid Shaila Prante Dharmadhamya Sarasyam Yudai Sadham Vapranuno Vireme Kuhu Stavat Devalasya Vishapad Grahi Bhutastajale Vattamanah Jagrahainam Hastinam Padadeshe Shantyakam Hi Shantidoshi Swakanam Vatsevaya Vaibhava Durnirodham Yudhyatam Tam Vasaranam Sahasram Prapte Kale Tattadaikagrasiddhi Nakrakrantam Hastivajyam Vyarastvam Avirvyakta Praptana Jnana Bhaktihi Shundo Cheptai Pundarike Samachyan Purvabhyastan Nirvisheshatmanishtam Stotra Sreshtam Sombadhadi Paratman Shrutva Stotram Nirgunastam Samastam Brahmeshadhe Nahamitya Prayade Sarvatma Tum Bhuri Karunyavekad Prakshya Ruda Prekshito Bhurasad Hasti Dhantam Hastapadnena Dhritva Chakrena Tvam Nakravaryam Yadari Gandharvesmin Mukta Shape Sahasti Tatsarupiam Prapya Dipyadesman Edad Vrittam Tvam Cha Mam Cha Prageyo Gahe Soyam Bhuyase Sheyase Syad Ityuktainam Tena Sadham Tarastvam Dishyam Vishno Pahi Vatalayesha
Sarvatra Govinda Nama Sankirtanam
Govinda Govinda
Akhila Loka Guru Bhagavan Namaste Chotanikaramane Swamiye Sarvayappan
Haraye Namaha, Sri Haraye Namaha, Sri Haraye Namaha. So Bhagavan is not only showing compassion to the human beings, but even animals. Something very exclusive to Sanatana Dharma, that we seek well-being of all living beings, not just only the human beings. In Shanti Mantram you have that, isn't it? Sanchatushpate. Last word of Shanti Mantram, Sanchatushpate. Sanchatushpate, Dvipate, Sanchatushpate. The two-legged ones as well as the four-legged ones. Here, this elephant, in the previous birth, called Indradyumna, he was a king of Pandya kingdom. And he was so engrossed in the bhakti to a Lord that he missed to welcome sage Agastya. No, these saints have to be very careful.
Especially Agastya.
If you don't, they are so sensitive that if you are not careful, they will give you a curse. So, I was reading Ramayana when Vishwamitra wanted to get Rama and Lakshmana to the forest to fight against the Rakshasas. Dasharatha, he was not willing to let go his young son. But at the same time, he was scared that Vishwamitra can curse him also. So he was trying to kind of persuade him to let go these boys. They are very young, they will sleep in the night, they can't get up. Because the Asuras, these are called Nishachara Chamugu. They are active only during the night. I think most evil forces are. They are active during the night. Daytime they run away. Even insects for that matter. They are active during the night time. And the fighting has to be done during the night time. So these are young boys. How can they go and fight? Vishwamitra continued, he said that. But ultimately Dasharatha said, yet Kamala Nayanam. He was describing Rama's eyes as Kamala Nayanam. What is so special about Kamala Nayanam? You know what is special about Kamalam? Lotus. It blooms during the daytime. When the sun comes, it blooms. So this Kamala Nayanam will bloom only in the morning. And night time it will close. So he was trying to persuade him by saying Kamala Nayanam for Rama. But Vishwamitra was a very tough guy, He wouldn't let go. He said, don't worry, I will take care of them. And he took them as expected. Rama and Lakshmana were sleeping in the forest. And it's time, 4 o'clock or 3:30 in the morning. This is the first time he says, Rama Purva Sandhya Vadati Kausalya Supraja. What you hear every day, Venkatesh Suprapadam, Kausalya Supraja. And he puts Kausalya as number 1. Before he can tell Rama, but yes, Kausalya Supraja, because as per Kausalya he would not have got him. Kausalya could have objected, no? Dasharatha may say, okay, take my son. But Kausalya says, he's my son, I don't want to let him go. But she also gave permitted very willingly. So he put Kausalya Supraja. So in every of the verses there is a meaning of why they do it. Kamalayanam Kausalya Supraja. Likewise here, this king, he forgot to welcome Sage Agastya, and Sage Agastya cursed him to become an elephant in the next birth. And he was born as an elephant, Gajendra. Of course, he was a king of elements, Triputa mountains. And he had a good time because the rest of the elephants were all giving company. And there was a Gandharva whose name was Hu Hu. I thought it was a Chinese name. His name was Hu Hu. He was also cursed by another sage called Devala because he probably offended him some way, and he cursed him to become a crocodile. And he was living in that lake. So he was looking for a prey. Nobody would come there. One day this king Gajendra, elephant, came to the lake because very hot sunny days, he wanted to cool himself, so he put his foot inside the water. And this was a chance for the crocodile Huhu to just grab him and caught hold of his leg. And Gajendra was so mighty, he fought. But you know, the crocodile teeth are so strong that grabs it wouldn't let go. So then it was at that time Gajendra started singing and offering prayers in praise of Paramatma or Brahman. Then Lord appeared before him, taking his personal jet called Garuda, and arrived there, and with his mercy released Gajendra from the hold of the crocodile. But this particular Gajendra Moksham, as it is described in Narayaneeyam, somewhat different from what you have in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam also talks about Gajendra Moksham. But generally, what they say is the story comes and then the Suti comes later. Sukracharya narrates to Parikshit king. The Gajendra Stuti comes first and then the story. In Narayanam, it is just the reverse. The story comes first and ultimately the Stuti comes. So it is just different that way. Because Narayanam is basically a bhashyam. It is a conversation. And Bhattatri and Guruvayurappan, they are in conversation. And in the conversation, he says the story and ultimately the Stuti comes. So the Gajendra Stuti here, verse 7 is coming here. Arti is a word called Arti. Not this Arati, but Arti. Arti means extreme sorrow. Sad to the ultimate, extreme sorrow. Vyakta is cast. Praktan Jnana Bhaktihi. From where does the Jnana Bhakti comes? Come from the previous birth. No big difference between Sanatana Dharma, other religions. We believe in rebirth. We believe in karma. Other religions don't believe in it. Distinction. Here, the Jnana Bhakti for Gajendra comes from the previous birth, not from the present birth, from the previous birth. The Jnana Bhakti, Narayana Bhattatri says that. From that Jnana Bhakti, he then prays because of the Arti, extreme sorrow. Nirvisheshatma Nishtam. Nirvisheshatma Nishtam. Nirguna Brahma Visheshatai Konda Abhinartham. The one which has got the quality of Nirguna Brahman. Here again it comes to Brahman. Nirvisheshatma Nishtam. That's a word which means that entity which has the gunam of, which has no gunam, nirgunam. Stostra seshtam. So anvagatita paratman. Again a question. Stostra sreshtam. Stostra sreshtam means best of stotrams. What Gajendra says, the best of stotrams. So anvagatit. Appadinu sonna name ava. Did Gajendra really say that the slosam? Is that really true? How can elephants talk? Elephants don't talk, but elephant was crying due to extreme sorrow. Yakta. Crying means what? Trumpeting. Trumpeting due to the pain caused by the crocodile, and out of extreme sorrow, he was letting out his pain and agony. That itself formed the stotram, Sreshta Stotram. Is it true that he really did that? Bhattatri is asking Guruvayurappan, and Guruvayurappan nods, yes, he did that. He asked me. And then only I came and saved him. So this is the Gajendra cries out of extreme sorrow, trumpeting, and the trumpeting is taken as crying. Also, in the third verse you have Tvat Bhaktanam Kutra Not Kashtam Labha. Tvat Bhaktanam Kutra Not Kashtam Labha. Those devotees, Putra, where will the devotees not get elevated? Not get elevated. If they pray, that is actually the effect of the Lord giving him the blessing. Where will not a devotee not get elevated? That is Tvad Bhaktanam Kutra Not Kashtam. Kashtam Labha. So here the Lord declared that whoever sings the Gajendra Moksham in this particular chapter, in the dawn, morning time, will be blessed with wealth and prosperity. And then the Gajendra departed to Vaikunta with the blessings of the Lord. So, Bhattacharya requests here, Lord, who saved Gajendra from the jaws of crocodile, please save me also in the same way. He's pleading because he has got that rheumatic pain in him. And the whole Narayanam is recited in agony and pain by Bhattacharya. So here he says, you relieve the pain of Gajendra, why don't you also relieve the pain to me in the same way? That's the plea that he makes in this Dasakam 26. Okay, Namami.
Rama Krishna Govinda Narayana, Rama Krishna Govinda Narayana, Narayana Hari Narayana, Narayana Hari Narayana, Rama Krishna Govinda Narayana, Rama Krishna Govinda Narayana, Sri Lakshmi Ramana Narayana, Sri Lakshmi Ramana Narayana, Sai Narayana, Sai Narayana, Satya Narayana, Satya Narayana, Narayana, Hari Om Ananta Narayana, Hari Om Ananta Narayana, Hari Om Ananta Narayana, Rama Krishna Govinda Narayana, Rama Krishna Govinda Narayana, Narayana Hari Narayana, Rama Krishna Govinda Narayana, Rama Krishna Govinda Narayana.
Sarvatra Govinda Nama Sankirtanam.
Govinda Govinda.
Darshakam 100. Kesaji Pada Varmani.
Agre pashyami tejo nibidadarakala yavai lohaniyam piyushapravidoham tadadudare divyakaishoravesham karunyadambaramyam paramasukarasaaswada romanchitangaihi avitam naradadhyai vilasadupanishad sundari mandalaisha Nilavam kunjinagram Ganamamalaram Samyakam Charubankya Ratnottam Saviramam Palaitamudaya Chandrakai Pinchajai Mandara Sangimidam Tavarutakabari Bharamalokayeham Snigdashvedorda Pundram Vichak Sudalitam Falabhalenduvitam Hrityam Purnanukampo Navamrudulahari Chanchara Gruvilasaihi आनीलस्निग्धपक्ष्मावलिपरिलसितं नेत्रयुग्मं विबोधे सान्द्रच्छायं विशालारुणकमलदलाकारमामुक्तदारं कारुण्यालोकलीलाशिशिरितभुवनं शिप्यतां मय्यनादे उत्तुङ्गोलासिनासं हरिमणिमुकुरप्रोल्लसद्गण्डपाणि व्यालोलत्कर्णपाशाञ्चितमकरमणि कुण्डलद्वन्द्वदीप्रम् उन्मीलद्दन्तपङ्क्तिस्फुरदरुणधरच्छायबिम्बादरान्तः प्रीलिप्रस्यन्ति मन्दस्मितमधुरचरणं वक्रमुद्भासतां मे बाहुद्वन्द्वेन रत्नोज्ज्वलवलयधृता शोणपाणिप्रवाले नोपात्तां रेणुनालीं प्रसुतनकमयूखाङ्गुली सङ्कशाराम् कृत्वा वक्त्रारविन्दे सुमधुरविकसद्रागमुद्भाव्यमानैः शब्दब्रह्मामृतैस्त्वं शिशिरितभुवनैः सञ्जमे कर्णवीतिम् उत्सपत्नं स्तुभश्रीततिविररुणितं कोमलं कण्ठदेशं वक्षश्रीवत्सरम्यं सर्वधरसमुद्दीप्रहारप्रदानम् नानावर्णप्रसूनावलिकिसितैनीं वन्यमालां विलोलल्लोलम्बां रत्नमालाम् अन्ये पञ्चाङ्गरागैः अतिशयविकसत्सौरभाकृष्टलोकम् वीरानेकत्रिलोकी विदतिमपि कृशां बिभ्रतं मध्यवल्ली शक्रास्मन्यस्तदब्दोज्ज्वलकनकनिवं पीतचेलं ददानं ध्यायामोदीप्तिरश्मे स्फुटमनिरसना कीलिनी मण्डितं त्वाम् ऊरो चारूतवोरो गणमसृणरुचौ चित्तचोरौ रमायाः विश्वक्षोभं विशङ्क्य मृगमनिशमुभौ पीतचेलावृताकौ आलम्राणां पुरस्ताद् न्यसनगतसमस्तार्थपाली समुद्यच्छायं जानुद्वयं च क्रमभृतमनोज्ञे च जङ्घे निषेपे मञ्जीरं मञ्जुनादैरिव पदभजनं श्रेय इत्यालपन्तम् पादाग्रं भ्रान्तिमज्जत् प्रणतजनमनो मन्दरोद्धारपूर्वम् उत्तुङ्गा ताम्रराजन् मकरहिमकरज्योत्स्नया चाश्रितानां सन्तापध्वान्तहन्त्री तदिमनुकलये मङ्गलामङ्गुलीनाम् योगीन्द्राणां मुक्तिभाजां निवासो भक्तानां कामवर्षद्विदर्शलयं नादते पादमूलम् नित्यं चित्तस्थितं मे पवनपुरपदे कृष्णाकारुण्यसिन्धो कृत्वा निःशेषतापाद् प्रतिशतु परमानन्दसन्तोषलक्ष्मी अग्नीन्द्राणां त्वदङ्घेष्वधिकसुमधुरं मुक्तिभाजां निवासो भक्तानां कामवर्षद्युदरकिसलयं नादते पादमूलम् नित्यं चित्तस्थितं मे पवनपुरपदे कृष्णाकारुण्यसिन्धो कृत्वा निःशेषतापाद् प्रतिशतु परमानन्दसन्तोषलक्ष्मी योगीन्द्राणां त्वदङ्घेष्वधिकसुमधुरं मुक्तिभाजां निवासो भक्तानां कामवर्षद्युदर्किसलयं नादते पादमूलम् नित्यं चित्तस्थितं मे पवनपुरपदे कृष्णाकारुण्यसिन्धो कृत्वा निःशेषतापाद् प्रतिशतु परमानन्दसन्तोषलक्ष्मी अज्ञात्वा हे महत्त्वं यदि निगदितं विश्वनाथाक्षमेधाः स्तोत्रं चैतत्सहस्रोत्तरम् अधिकतरं त्वत्प्रसादाय भूयात् वेदा नारायणीयं श्रुतिजुषजनुषा स्तुत्यतावन्नमेन स्वीयं लीलावतारैः इदमिह कुरुताम् आयुरारोग्यसौख्यम् अज्ञात्वा हे महत्त्वं यदि निगदितं विश्वनाथाक्षमेधाः स्तोत्रं चैतत्सहस्रोत्तरम् अधिकतरं त्वत्प्रसादाय भूयात् वेदा नारायणीयं श्रुतिजुषजनुषा स्तुत्यतावन्नमेन स्वीयं लीलावतारैः इदमिह कुरुताम् आयुरारोग्यसौख्यम् अज्ञात्वा ते महत्त्वं यदि न निगदितं विश्वनाथाक्षमेधाः स्तोत्रं चैतत्सहस्रोत्तरम् अधिकतरं त्वत्प्रसादाय भूयात् नारायणीयं श्रुतिजुषधनुषा स्तुत्यतावर्णनेन श्रीधं लीलावतारैः इदमिव कुरुताम् आयुरारोग्यसौख्यम्
सर्वत्र गोविन्दनाम संकीर्तनं गोविन्द गोविन्द अखिल लोक गुरु भगवान् नमस्ते चोटानिकरमणे शरणं स्वामिये शरणमय्यप्पा
This is the concluding part of Narayaneeyam. It's called the Kesadi Pada Varnanai. It's a vision of the Lord appearing before Narayana Bhattacharya. He sees the Lord appearing before him and he gives a vivid description what he says. The Kesadi Pada Varnai is from the head to the toe description. And it's given so beautifully. He's already healed, you know. After the 99th sloka, when he saw the vision, he's already healed. He's rid of the rheumatism, whatever he had. And Bhattacharya sees the radiance of the Lord, which is compared to a bunch of blue lilies. He feels totally soaked in amritam, nectar. So in the middle of this halo, he identifies a small boy. Kaishora Rupam, as I said before, Kaishora Rupam means a boy who is in the age of 10 to 15 age group, you know. Neither a young man nor a very small kid, but in between the two. And he is so beautiful. And he sees the clean, thick, lustrous hair, which are held together and decked with emerald studded peacock feathers with shining eyes, and encircled with beautiful flowers, mandara kusmo. And you know, he has a broad forehead. You can see people with beaming intelligence have a broad forehead. Kasturi tilakam lalata palake, Kasturi tilakam lalata palake, Vachastale kaustubam, Nasagre navabauntikam, Karatalam bedum kare kankanam, Sarvage harichandanam chakalayo, Kantija Muktavali, Gopastrim Parivetito, Vijayate, Gopala Chudavali. The description, the Sui Tilakam, Lata Padake, is very broad, wearing the Kaustubha money. And it has got the Sanka Chakra Gada, you know. A young person like that, with beautiful eyebrows. I happened to read Krishna Karnamrutam, Leela Sukar, I mentioned before. The very first slokam, here it is coming at the end, but here, the very first slokam, it is reading like this. Chintamanir jayate, somar kirir kurume, siksha guruscha bhagavan, Shiki picha maulihi, yatpada kalpataru, Pallava Sekareshu Leela Swayam Bararasam Labate Jayasrihi. The very first line, he pays homage to his guru who was Somagiri. That's why the Chintamani Jayati Somagiri Guru name. Somagiri was his guru, so he pays his homage to his guru first. The second line says Siksha Guruscha Bhagavan Shiki Picha Maulihi. Shiki Picha Maulihi, with peacock feathers on the Mauli, on the forehead. What you see here. No, it's very thoughtful of you to bring this because it is referred to earlier in the Narayaneeyam. It's also referred to here and referred to in Krishna Karnamritam. So it is, I think, something which really identifies Krishna, the peacock feathers. And when I sang Manasa Sanchari, also the same thing. What Sadasiva Brahmendra says about Krishna. So, Pada, lotus feet here, Yat Pada Kalpataru. We mentioned Kalpaga Vrisham in the very first Dasagam, remember? Where Narayana Bhattatri compares Guruvayurappan to Kalpataru, Kalpavriksha. Here is the very first slogam, he is comparing Yat Pada Kalpataru, Pallava Sekareshu, Leela Swayam Vararasam Labate Jayasrihi. Kalpataru is a wish giving tree, everybody knows that. Jayasri, Jayasri is Lakshmi. He enjoys the pastimes of Lakshmi, Jayasri or Radha. So, in Krishna Karnamritam also it is a beautiful scripture about Krishna, and this is the very first slogam there. What you find here in the last slogam, here in the vision of the Lord. And Bhattatri says the face got a very prominent, well, he is described in every part of the body, the nose. Some people have very short nose, some people have somebody having a name as Garuda Jalam, you know, he has got a very flat nose. It has to correspond with the name. But here it is a well-shaped nose, shining cheeks, which was touched by Lord himself in Dhruva Charitram. Studded, gem-studded rings swinging from the ears. And Murali, the flute, is kept on his lotus-like face. So Bhattatri actually pleads to the Lord to play him the flute. In this slokam he says, I want to hear your flute. The Kaustubha jewel is shining, and Bhattatri says if you meditate on the Lord who is smeared with sandana, scent of sandal flowers, and those flowers really are different types. There are 5 different types he's mentioned about it, which attract the people. He holds the entire 3 worlds within, which has a waist which is like a creeper, a very slender waist. His body resembles sapphire. He's comparing it to sapphire. And is covered with golden color silk. It is held firmly to his lip. The shining girdle started with jumps. His feet, he says, is shaped like a tortoise. You know, tortoise has got a gentle sloping and hard also. Shaped like a tortoise, reminding us he is a savior, probably referring to Kurma Avataram. He's referring to Kurma Avataram, which is like a Mantara mountain sinking in the ocean of desires. Even the toe nail he's describing is slightly raised. Toe nail is slightly raised, very red and shining like the moonlight, which is expelling the darkness of sorrows, and bless the devotee with fortunes. He says the soul, the foot, are the most coveted and most beloved to the great yogis and the rest of the body. We always look at the lotus feet. Elders also, we touch the feet. The feet are so sacred. It is a place, I believe, of the liberated souls. The devotees' desires are all fulfilled by offering prostrations to that feet, lotus feet. That is also compared as a Kalpataru, which we saw in the Krishna Karnamritam. What he says, Yat Pada Kalpataru, the feet which is like the Kalpataru. So we fall and surrender ourselves to the feet, it gives you wishes like a Kalpataru. So So he pleads, O Lord Guruvayurappan, O Lord Krishna, the ocean of compassion, let those feet always, the feet, the padam, let it rest in my heart. Let it destroy all my sorrows and confer in me an abundant flow of supreme bliss. So last slokam he begs for forgiveness. Kshama. Whatever mistakes you have made, please forgive me. Knowingly, unknowingly we commit so many sins. That's why we plead for forgiveness, Kshama. So he requests the Lord to grant prasadam to all the devotees, whoever chants or hears the end of this dasakam, which describes the various forms. The entire Narayanam itself is describing the various forms of the Lord, but this particular one gives you the description Kesadi Padavarni. So it's a vision of the Lord as seen by Lord Bhattatari. Whoever is able to hear this, he says they should get the best blessing. Ayur Arogya Saukyam, that's the last line. Ayur Arogya Saukyam. Should have long life, but what if it is full of sicknesses? Some people who live all the life breathing on something or having dialysis, that is no good. You should have Ayur Arogyam, good health. Then you get Saukyam with prosperity. So he finally seeks the God. Please give Ayur Arogya Saukyam to everybody who is here, who is listening to this Narayaneeyam, and on our behalf he makes that request. So this is the end of this. But let us remember those people who are familiar with Vishnu Sahasranamam. We have the great slokam, which we say 3 times, right? Vanamali Gati
Changi Chanki Chakri Chanandaki Sriman Narayano Vishnu Vasudevo Virakshatu Vanamali Gati Chanki Chakri Chanandaki Sriman Narayano Vishnu Vasudevo Virakshatu Vanamali Gati Chanki Chakri Chanandaki Sriman Narayano Vishnu Vasudevo Virakshatu.
Here the Lord is seeing, wearing Vanamala. Gadi means Gada, grace. Who wears the Gadai. Chanka Chakra Gada says, no? He is Gadi Changi. Changi means Sharangam is the name of the sword that is got. Not sword, the bow. Sarangam. Saranga Pani is the name given to Rama. Sarangam is the bow that is got. Sangha Chakram. And Chanandaki Cha Nandaki. Nandaki is the name of the sword which the Lord has. Sword name is Nandakam. That's why you say Chanandaki. Chanki Chakri Chanandaki. Sriman Narayano Vishnu Vasudeva Virakshatu, who bears the name of Vasudeva, who is Narayana himself. Please protect us. Vasudevo be Rakshatu. Please protect us. So with that, we conclude the 4 dasakams today. And I would like to conclude it with the Namavali as usual. Let's sing it together.
Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Namo, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Namo, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Namo, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Namo. Navinikka Manaminikka Navinikka Nadinikka Nadelam irundu பாடுவோம் ஆடுவோம் நாத யோக தேகமாகி நாதநாத என்ற நாகராஜனை பணிந்து இங்கு பாடுவோம் பாடுவோம் பரிணமித்த பிரணவத்தில் ஒளி எழுந்த பாடுவோம்
பாடுவோம்
தவனனாயிரங்கள் ஏகரேகையான கரசஹஸ்ர சக்கரமூர்த்தியை புகழ்ந்து பாடுவோம் பாடுவோம் கனக கோடி சிகரமேரு குழிமெனத்து நின்ற கதையினை பணிந்து இன்று பாடுவோம் பாடுவோம் கரசரோஜ மலருகின்ற ஜலசரோஜ மாண்பு சார்ந்த கர்க சக்தியும் தெரிந்து பாடுவோம் பாடுவோம் கடுவிஷம் தணிக்கும் கண்கள் கனல் பறக்கும் கை குவிக்கும் கருடமூர்த்தியை பணிந்து பாடுவோம் பாடுவோம் ஜெகமெல்லாம் அடக்கி வைக்கும் உதர உந்தி முளரி பூத்த சதுர்முகன் பதம் பணிந்து பாடுவோம் பாடுவோம் தேவர் போற்ற முனிவர் போற்ற யோக மாயையில் கலந்த தேவ தேவனை பணிந்து பாடுவோம் பாடுவோம் திருமடந்தை நிலமடந்தை இருமடங்கும் மகிழ வைத்த ஸ்ரீனிவாசனை புகழ்ந்து பாடுவோம் பாடுவோம் திருமடந்தை நிலமடந்தை இருமடங்கும் மகிழ வைத்த ஸ்ரீனிவாசனை பணிந்து பாடுவோம் பாடுவோம்.
So with this, we conclude the 4th Sakams, and now we can start with Rasa Krida.
நீங்கள் என்ன வழக்கமாக படிப்பீங்களோ எனக்கு ஒன்று தான் ஒரு தசகம் தான் எனக்கு தெரியும் படிக்கிறேன் அதுதான் எனக்கு தெரியும் 69 படிக்கிறேன் இல்லை படிக்கிறது பெட்டர் எல்லாரும் சேர்ந்து படிக்கலாம்.
केशपाशकृत पिञ्चिका विदति सञ्चलन् मकरकुण्डलम् हारगणसौरभम् पीतचेन काञ्चिकाञ्चितमुदञ्चलं सुमहिनूपुरम् रासकेलिपरिभूषितं तव हि रूपमीश कलयामहे तावदेव कृतमण्डले कलितकुञ्जवीरकुशमण्डले गण्डलोलमणिकुण्डले युवतिमण्डले परिमण्डले अन्तरा सकलसुन्दरी युगलमिन्दिरारमणसञ्चरन् मञ्जुलान्तदनुरासकेलिमयि कञ्चनामसमुपारदा वासुदेवनव भासमानविहरासकेलिरससौरभम् दूरतोऽपि खलु नारदा गतितमाकलय्य कुतुकाकुला वेशभूषण विलास पेशल विलासिनी शतसमावृता नागतो युगपदागता वियति वेगतो तसुरमण्डली वेणुनादकृतगान कलगानरागगतियोजना लोभनीय मृदुपादपादकृतकालमेलनमनोहरम् पाणिसङ्क्वलितकङ्गणं च मुहुरं सलम्बितकराम्बुजम् श्रोणिबिम्बजलदम्बरं भजतरासकेलिरसडम्बरम् श्रद्धया विरचितानुगानकृततारतारमधुरस्वरे नर्तने दललिताङ्गहारलुलिताङ्गहारमणिभूषणे सम्मदेन कृतपुष्पवर्षमलमुन्विशद्विविशदाम्बुलम् चिन्मये त्वयि निलीयमानमिव सम्मोहसवदूकलम् स्विन्दसन्नतनुवल्लरी तदनु पशुपाङ्गना कान्तमं समवलम्बते स्म तव कान्तिभारमुकुलेक्षणा काचिदाचलितकुन्तला नवपटीरसारजगसौरभम् वञ्चलेन तव सञ्चुचुम्बभुजमञ्चितोरुकुलकाङ्कुरा कापि खण्डभुवि सन्निधाय निजखण्डमाकुलितकुण्डलम् पुण्यपूरनिधिरन्ववाप तव पूगचर्वितरसामृतम् इन्दिराविहृतिमन्दिरं भुवनसुन्दरं जिनगणान्तरे त्वामवाप्य ददुरङ्गना किमुन संवदोन्मदशान्तरम् गानमीश विरतं क्रमेण किल वाद्यवेलनमुपारतं ब्रह्म सम्मदरसाकुला सदसि केवलं ननु दुरङ्गना नाविदन्नपि च नीलिकां किमपि कुन्दलीमपि च कञ्चुलीं ज्योतिषामपि कदम्बकं दिवि विलम्बितं किमपरं ध्रुवे मोदसीं भुवनं विलाप्य विहृतिं समाप्य च ततो विभो केलि संमृतनम्बराङ्गनवधर्मलेश शुभधात्मनां मन्मदा सहन चेतसां पशुपयोषितां सुकृतचोदितः तावदा कलितमूर्तिरादवितमारवीर परमोत्सवान् केलि भेद परिलोलिता विरतिलालिता विरबलालिभिः स्वैरमीशननुसूरजापयसि चारुनाम विकृतिं यदा कालनेत्व च विसारि शीतलकिशोरमारुतमनोहरे शूरसौरभमये विलेसितविलासिनी शतविमोहनम् कामिनीरितिः यामिनीषु खलु कामनीयकनिधे भवान् पूर्णसम्मदरसार्णवं कमपि योगि गम्यमनुभावयन् ब्रह्मशङ्करमुखानपीह पशुपाङ्गनासु बहुमानयन् भक्तलोकगमनीय रूपगमनीय कृष्ण परिपाहि माम् भक्तलोकगमनीय रूपगमनीय कृष्ण परिपाहि माम् भक्तलोकगमनीय रूपगमनीय कृष्ण परिपाहि माम्
सर्वत्र गोविंद नाम संकीर्तनं
हरये नमः श्री हरये नमः श्री हरये नमः. There is
சுவாமி அதுல மறைஞ்சு போறதுக்கு அப்புறம் தான் இது தசமஸ்கந்தம் அதுக்கு அப்புறம் தான் இது வருது. ராசக்கிரீட பாடினா அதுக்கப்புறம் பாடிக்கணும்.
actually you should have sung that before.
அதான் நான் சொன்ன 68 முடிச்சு 69 நார்மலா.
Okay. அதான் பழக்கம் அப்படிதான். I thought of including it as the
அது பாடிட்டு இது படிச்சிருந்தோம்னா எனக்கு சுவாமி இந்த தரிசனம் கொடுத்துடுறாரு. ஆமா திரும்பி விடணும். அந்த தாபம் திரும்பி வரா மாதிரி இருக்கும் அதுல.
ஸ்ரீவித்யா ரெண்டு பாட்டு பாடுங்க. ஏதாவது பாட்டு பாடுங்க.
कृष्ण कृष्ण मुकुंद जनार्दना कृष्ण गोविंद नारायण हरे 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 अच्युतानंद गोविंद माधव सच्चिदानंद 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 नारायण हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण मुकुंद जनार्दना कृष्ण गोविंद नारायण हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण मुकुंद जनार्दना कृष्ण गोविंद नारायण हरे कृष्ण भजो मुरली गोविंद भजो कृष्ण भजो मुरली गोविंद भजो
कृष्ण भजो मुरली गोविंद भजो
कृष्ण भजो मुरली गोविंद भजो
राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोपाल 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 भजो
कृष्ण भजो मुरली गोविंद भजो
कृष्ण भजो मुरली गोविंद भजो
गिरिधारी श्याम भजो राधे 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 गोविंद भजो
मधुवन संचारी श्याम गोपाल 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 भजो
कृष्ण भजो मुरली गोविंद भजो
कृष्ण भजो मुरली गोविंद भजो
राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोपाल भजो
राधे गोविंद भजो राधे गोपाल भजो
कृष्ण भजो मुरली गोविंद भजो
कृष्ण भजो मुरली गोविंद भजो
गिरिधारी श्याम भजो राधे गोविंद भजो
गिरिधारी श्याम भजो राधे गोविंद भजो
राधे गोविंद भजो
राधे गोविंद भजो
गिरिधारी श्याम भजो राधे गोविंद भजो
गिरिधारी श्याम भजो राधे गोविंद भजो
मधुवन संचारी श्याम गोपाल 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 भजो
कृष्ण भजो मुरली गोविंद भजो
कृष्ण भजो मुरली गोविंद भजो
गोपिका जीवन स्मरणं
गोविंद
राधा कृष्ण कुंज विहार लाल की
गुरुवायुरप्पने नमः रूपम् आग्रापयामि ओम श्री वासुदेवाय नमः गुरुवायुरप्पने नमः दीपं दर्शयामि नैवेद्य चरण टीचर
ಚಕ್ರ ಪೊಂಗಲ್ ನೆಯ್ ಪಾಯಸ
ಅಲ್ಲ ಅದು ನೆಯ್ ಪಾಯಸಂ ಇಂಗೆ ಚಕ್ರ ಪೊಂಗಲ್
ಸಾರಿ
ओम भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं देवस्य धीमहि प्रचोदयात् ओम भगवद्गीता ब्रह्मा भूर्भुवः स्वः पानाय स्वाहा ब्रह्मणे स्वाहा ओम श्री ओम श्री गुरुवायूरप्पने नमः ओम श्री कृष्णाय नमः शक्करान्नम मुदुकुल पायसम दध्योन्नम पानहं महानैवेद्यं निवेदयामि निवेद्यानन्तरम् आचमनीयं समर्पयामि ताम्बूलं समर्पयामि सर्वोपचारान् समर्पयामि सर्वभक्षानि सर्वफलानि नैवेद्यं निवेदयामि
नमो वयं वै श्रवणाय कुर्महे